I can tell you what heals you. It's not some foul demon being cast out. It's the love of God. Our love for Him and His love for us. In our hearts, His heart and our heart, that heals us. Our love for Him, His love for us. In our heart, in His heart. The reality of His presence within us. That's what heals us. It's not some fantastic ministry of casting out demons, trampling them under our feet, condemning them to Satan's domain. It might speak to a certain type of mind, a certain frame of mind. But the truth of the matter is, it's the love of God that heals us. I fell over yesterday. I slipped in the wet. My shoes don't have the grip that they should have in wet. And I went down. I was concerned on the way down that I don't wreck my back, because I've had trouble in past decades. And by the grace of God, I was able to get up, but of course I'd strained my wrist as I protected the fall for the body. And it was troubling me yesterday. I mean, pain-wise and immobility, I just couldn't risk using it for, or scarcely even touching the surface. And some pain when I laid in bed last night. Sort of, I guess it kept me awake. Well, I may have sort of on and off walked in and out of sleep, you know. And then, about 4 o'clock this morning, I realised how wonderfully rested it had been. It wasn't actually hurting. I mean, I'd had quite a bit of sleep, don't get me wrong. And now, of course, I listened, as is now my usual practice, to John 17. And then to the footnote that I just did to 1547, is it? Solutions. And I'm flying again. I'm not sure how much I can use my right arm yet, my right hand and wrist. But I feel so blessed and rescued and loved. He shows His love for us by coming to our rescue. This is how we show love, isn't it? My friend's wife was not well yesterday and she went to bed. I reminded him several times, check her out. Check her out. And what I meant by that was, let her know how much you love her. To know that you're loved when you're in difficulty is such an incredible help, such a consolation, such a blessing. Those that are in difficulty, let them know that they're loved, not just by you, of course, but by their Heavenly Father, who loves and cares for them. I've had on my mind on and off the last day or two, and to worship you I live to worship you. To worship you I live. to worship you. I live to worship you. There's something about devotion that gets you through the most incredible hardship. You might think that's not quite the right reason to be devoted. I tell you, any reason's a good reason to be devoted. And if you're devoted because of an incredible selfishness and ego, which I might have suffered from time to time, let me tell you, it's still a good reason. Because he comes to our rescue in loving kindness. And we're blessed, and it touches our hearts. And that separateness that we call ego, I don't say vanishes away. I say is transformed into an identity, an ego that embraces all. In the limit, all. At the very least, every creature that can experience suffering and hope and loss and gain and desire and life. Life, that is life, isn't it? That our ego can be transformed into a universality of being. That is such a joy to all heaven. And actually, the universe of uncertainty and change. For it is ever what's longed for here. If you like, a peace that passes all understanding, a fellowship with all instead of war and destruction. You see, we worship the good. Life worships goodness. It gets confused from time to time, goes off to war, murders people, blunders around. Kids are like that. They're murderous at times. Horrific. The wonder is that God holds with it, but he does. Because he has firmly in mind, firmly in his sights, the loveliness you are in eternity to be and to have been always. Love you, Heavenly Father. Thank you for your loving kindness, Lord, and your healing, your presence. Thank you for the awareness of you, Lord. To worship you, I live to worship you. Thank you, Heavenly Father. It's funny, as is so often the case, not always by any means, but so often the case, I think, I haven't got anything this morning. Well, I'd say this morning, this was 4 o'clock when I first started. And yet it comes. And suddenly, out of the blue, from God's heart, rather, well, that's out the blue, isn't it? It's out of heaven. Now, this recording has suddenly been made. Absolutely lovely. Oh yes, and what I wanted to say was, it's made by attending to what God is teaching you in your daily life, here and now. You know, I've been suffering from this injury to the wrist. only yesterday, but since yesterday. But I can tell you it's dominated the last 12 hours, whatever it is. Yeah. But you attend to what God is teaching you at the moment. And you'll be alive in what you say, in what you write, or what you record, or what you do. Attend to what God is teaching you today. Be a student that absolutely focuses. I was aware by the time I got to university, if not a long time before, it's my ability to focus and concentrate, the epitome of what's considered to be the male mind, isn't it? To zone in on one thing, not multitasking at all, not multi-conscious, but purposed on a particular point, what the teacher's saying, anchoring it, thinking it through, listening with all your focus and concentration. I tell you, it transformed me from the most mediocre school ability, apart from his ability to act and talk, mind you. He seemed to have that from the beginning. But transformed me into the academic of academics, which you might not think is a very worthwhile achievement. But it's been of great value to me because wow, my path to God has been very much through reason and, dare I say it, philosophy, thinking it through, wrestling with ideas and what we mean by and what is logical, what is reasonable, what is not. If you like, what is truth? I'm not sure as well, perhaps you can come to God, all roads lead to God, but truth is one of them. It's a major aspect of God. Obviously, so is love. Yeah. Where was I? Hang on a minute. Yes, what's happening in your daily life is why you're here. Don't see it as trivial or unimportant. God's gone to a great deal of trouble to have this day the way it is. I say trouble, it's gone to a great deal of effort and planning and care, especially to bless you, to teach you, because he loves you. So give it the respect that it should have. Watch the details. Know what you find good and lovely. Fill your life with thankfulness to him and to those around you. Let them know you appreciate their goodness, their presence, their care. Life longs to be appreciated, and therefore how much more God. He longs to be appreciated by his children, us. And that's why it's such a joy to thank him and appreciate him, because you know in your heart it's a joy to him. How is it we, in our simplicity, in our lowliness, if you like, are able to bring joy infinite Father of the universe and all things. Wow, what is this spiritual existence about? That we should be so blessed. Love you, Heavenly Father, to worship you I live, to worship you I live to worship you. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Hey, do you know I dropped off my little girl at my wife's house, and while I was there, my back went. I mean, quite noticeably. I mean, shooting pain telling me that the fall had not done my back good at all. So I sat down on the settee sofa that I was so used to have together when we were married. And she got me a hot water bottle. And she made me macaroni cheese, slightly Indian style, really nice. And I was there for probably the best part of an hour. And by the time, well, in that time she reminded me that she was looking for another partner with a dating agency, and she'd met this chap who obviously didn't quite come up to the mark, and she's not interested in him. So I don't want to sort of gloss over the situation between the two of us, if you know what I mean. But by the time I'd been there for about an hour, well, my back didn't seem to be troubling. I was going very, very carefully, of course. More carefully with my back than I was with my hand, my wrist. I'd had a nice meal. I'd had a hot water bottle. Just what's needed in the back trouble. Well, I've always found that to be the case anyway. And I went off home. I did some processing of the recordings when I got home. Dark and dingy. Evening was coming and cloudy out there. I was alone in a very large living room, but I was fine. I was busy. I had purpose, you see. Doing these recordings given me great purpose. Ministry. Fantastic. Wow. But do you see, in a strange way, the difficulty with the wrist and the back was such a blessing. It had brought out the best, in a way, with my ex-wife. Brought out the best with my little girl too, who did what Dad needed help with, whether it was undoing a jar or whatever. She helped. She's a sweetheart. She's 9 years old. And do you see, every day is a treasure. Don't let it be a worry to you. Know in your heart that your Heavenly Father is very able to bring you through and can provide for you even from your enemies. They will come to your rescue as and when God knows it's right to do so. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above in wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Thank you, Heavenly Father. So you will remember that it's the love of God, His love for you and your love for Him, that conquers all. Perhaps conquers not the best of words. It's your love and His love for you that blesses the whole of creation. Thank you, Heavenly Father.